Butters. How does one castrate?
There are.
Oh, there we go.
Woo! Hey.
Yeah. Woo! Good job.
Oh, sorry for the delay. I totally wrote your message wrong.
That was awesome.
Hey, I don't know about Vanessa. I think that's something that makes this show great because we're a live show and you're here, so it doesn't matter what you read because now you're here and it starts. Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for giving us your time tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime. Time zones are very difficult. I struggle with them myself. I've missed a lot of my favorite streamers because the central time zone is only an hour difference.
Yeah.
I have a streamer in 6 chunks, and he streams all the time at 6 p.m. Central, and then I have to literally do the math in my head.
Yeah.
All right, if he's going live at 6, that means at 7 I can start watching him.
Yeah.
So it is
clock blocked again.
Clock blocked. What would you be doing tonight if you're not on this show?
Well, I was just thinking about making some supper and trying to catch up on The Walking Dead.
Ooh. So how caught up are you?
I have not seen anything since where's my brain? I'm ready to start the final the part 3 of season 11. I have not caught up on that bit.
Okay, so you're way ahead of me.
I
fell off the wagon. Not because I wasn't enjoying it. It's just it's busy here. I have picked it up again. I think I'm either almost done with season 10. It's on season 11 now, right?
Yeah.
I'm either almost done with season 11 or a few more episodes, or not 11, 10, or a few more episodes. I did pick it back up, but now I'm in the tough situation of my oldest daughter is 13 and she really enjoys scary things and horror and gore, actually. So she's into The Walking Dead. So she's starting to watch it. So now I have this big dilemma. Do I just pump the brakes and wait till she catches up to me? Because she can binge watch quick all the way up. Or do I just go ahead? And I've totally given up on my wife. I'm not waiting for her anymore. She falls asleep and it's just, we'll never finish at this rate.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, if you're waiting for your daughter, I mean, if you wait a couple weeks, then there'll be a couple more episodes for the finale.
Yeah.
So you might just get to watch it all the way through instead of having to wait.
Yeah. And I also, sometimes I'm the type of person, I wasn't like this with The Walking Dead when it first started, but I'm the type of person that waits for the entire season to be done before I watch something. It's the Netflix syndrome, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. That's awesome. What would you be making for dinner? What is for dinner?
Well, honestly, at this point, it's 8:50, so I'd probably just be popping some mini corn dogs into the air fryer and calling it a night. Nice, easy. I just have a couple more grams of protein to get in for the day, so like the corn dogs will put me over.
You keep track of all the grams of protein?
I do. I'm working with my trainer and I got a set calorie goal, so I don't want to go over my calories. And then it's like I need to hit a certain protein goal each day.
Is that challenging? Is it hard?
It was at first, realizing like, oh shoot, I can't just eat a whole sleeve of Oreos because that's my entire calories for the day.
Right.
But he's also been really cool about like, not wanting to put anyone into disordered eating.
Yeah.
So he's like, if there's a day where you just have to eat like 12 Oreos, just do it. Just don't make it a regular thing. Like, have some control.
So I was just looking at my phone. I'm not ignoring you. I'm scheduling tweets out. See if we can drive some more stuff and whatnot. So, you are a from North Dakota, I believe.
Yep, originally from North Dakota.
Now, you chase cat farm cattle farm animals around chicken.
Yeah, I grew up on a beef cattle operation, about 110 Angus
Ooh,
cows and 4 Charolais bulls. So we breed them, the Angus for their hardiness and the Charolais for their size, so that we could get bigger cows. Because obviously, you buy by the pound, so the bigger the calves, the more we can sell them for.
interesting, interesting. Now, before I get to how that prepared you for in-ring work, have you? Speaking of Netflix and watching shows, have you ever watched The Ranch?
I haven't, no.
Oh, because that's the only stuff I have to base this on. Like, because they own a ranch, they get cattle, they get cows. They got to go to auctions. You go to auctions
Oh,
and
yeah.
buy cows?
I never did. My dad never took me along for it,
No.
but yeah, mostly just we're helped with branding, castrating, all that fun stuff.
Oh, that's yeah. Sounds amazing.
And that sounds so fun for men to hear that I castrate large animals.
So, for those listening at home, castration is cutting of off of the balls. At least that's what my wife tells me.
Yep, she's right.
Is that is that like okay? How do I want to navigate these waters? How does one castrate?
There are a couple different methods, some being more humane than others, obviously, you know.
Correct.
There's a rubber band technique where you just put a tight band around them and then it cuts off the circulation and they just fall off eventually. We don't like that one. Uh,
Oh, that sounds like
my
it hurts.
Yeah, it's bad for him and it has a high risk of infection, so we don't like it. The way that my dad did it was you'd strap the cow down to this table when they were young, it'd flip up, you'd literally grab, slice, throw, and
That's it.
put it back down, and there's
Oh.
that. There's also there's cauterizing as well, where you burn the sack, and none of them are fun,
I would
but
yeah. I was thinking like freezing. I kept thinking of freezing them off, but
and maybe freezing is done more now. I know
yeah.
freezing is more humane than like cauterizing, but I guess I'm kind of out of the game right now. I'm not with my I haven't been with cattle for a couple of years, so I'm not keeping up on the new
Castration rules.
thing.
No.
Yeah.
So, um, oh my gosh, I got it in big writing on my notes too, and I forgot to say it. Congratulations, recently married.
Yes, just past 4 months a couple days ago. Thank you.
Yes, congratulations on that. Enjoy that journey. Life will now change for the better.
Mhm.
And you've heard all the cliches. It'll be all
Yeah,
that fun stuff. I apologize for not leading off with that. That was my plan to lead off with.
that's okay. It got in there. It's
I
fine.
I get distracted at times. So you chased cattle, you worked on a farm, you probably baled hay, you probably did a lot of other shit. Uh, how did that? How does that prepare? How did that prepare you for getting in the ring now, wrestling huge individuals?
That leads up to it right there. Is I'm used to getting pushed around by creatures much larger than I am. So like when it's just a 200-pound guy instead of a 1,400-pound cow, like oh no.
Right.
Um, I guess that's the most of the gist of it. A lot of it's a lot of the like farmers don't look like they're strong, but they have a lot of like useful muscle versus show off muscle.
Yeah, that's what I say all the time. You're I think it's farm strong,
Yeah, something
maybe
like
something
that.
like that. Yeah,
None of the farmers made the hashtag, but we'll take it over.
yeah,
So
yeah. Right. I don't think farmers. I could be wrong. Are on Twitter.
I mean, there's definitely a couple now that like social media is such a big thing. Like, it's a great way to advocate for the industry because, like, you know, there's a saying like, you need a doctor, a priest, and a policeman like once in your life, but every day, 3 times a day, you need a farmer.
Yep.
So, like, we definitely want to get out there and advocate for ourselves, especially with stuff about GMOs and GMOs are the only ones coming to my mind right now, but organic,
Right.
holistic, everything that people want their food to be certain ways now. And for like people who've never worked on a farm to say, oh, this is the best way to do it versus, a farmer saying this is the only sustainable way to do it. It's
Correct.
all about raising awareness for the people behind the what's the word I'm looking for? Hey, don't eat that. Stop. I have two cats.
I
And
saw
they're
them. I saw pictures of your cats on your Instagram, which is the
yes.
same as your Twitter, which I think is. I'm looking for it here. Free range Kara.
Yep, just free range care. This is the young one. This is Butter.
Yeah, that one's orange. That's the one that we had a cat that looked just like that, maybe a little fluffier. Uh,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, I miss Pesky.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
pesky.
yeah. Uh, yeah. I sadly named I have three cats. One we rescued because we found under a car at a library in Ocean City on vacation, and we had to bring it home.
Yeah.
So, like 12 hours away, we brought it home. We just brought it. We tried to find the owners,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but then my dad went out one morning and bought a cage, a carrying case, a
Mm-hmm.
dish, food, toys, and I was like, and the kids named it. I was like,
Yeah.
well, guess it's coming home now. But the other two
Yep.
cats, Pokey, who's still kicking, 20 plus years, Pesky, who sadly passed away, both named after Boston Red Sox shortstops.
Oh,
So
okay.
we got that going for us.
But
Uh,
dang, 20 plus years, that's a good job. Like, that's a good cat right there.
he's I tell you what, man, I tell you, like, yeah, and okay, so this leads into your shoe job. Veterinarian. What's the word? You work with veterinarian. I wrote it down.
Vet tech.
Vet tech. Thank
Yeah,
you,
vet
Vanessa.
tech.
Vet tech. Thank you, Vanessa. Was that Vanessa? Thank
It
you.
was me.
It was you. Good job. I wrote it down somewhere, but now I can't find it. I literally wrote shoot job, and now I don't know where it went. Yeah. So we took him to the vet to get a checkup. He wasn't feeling well, and he had a bunch of dreads. And I'm thinking, because he's not grooming himself. I'm like,
Yeah.
I have mentally prepared to say, well, this is it. We gotta put him down. 20 plus years, whatever. He's gonna have this and this and this. No, he's stronger than a horse. They said. And I'm like, oh, great. So he just needs some special kidney food that he gets every morning. I feed him when I get up, so like 6:25. But he loves it so much that he is in my face at probably 2:30, 3 o'clock, literally, like right in my face, going
Yeah.
meow, meow, meow. And I'll have to cover my head. I literally have to cover my head, which I don't really like doing. And
Yeah.
I'll cover my head and hope he thinks I've disappeared. I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, we love cats. My kids want a dog. I want a dog. I want to get a therapy dog, or at least, but we'll see how that happens. But yeah, we're here to talk about wrestling, not castrating animals and old cats. I'm trying not to get to the other topics that have nothing to do with wrestling. We'll talk a little about wrestling. So, all right. Let me get this straight. So, you worked with a company called Freelance Wrestling. We've had a lot of people from Freelance on here. I know Freelance; it's great stuff. You worked there as Kara. I'm gonna botch the last name. I want to say Noia.
It's actually Paranoia, just a play off of Paranoia.
Caranoia. I like it better now. And then also Heavy on Wrestling, it was called, I think. Where was that?
Yeah.
Where's that located?
That one was based out of Duluth, Minnesota.
Nice. And the Freelance Wrestling, you were in the She-Lance, which is the all-women scramble. A lot of great talent in that, as well as yourself. But it wasn't till after, quote unquote, the pandemic that happened. And people stepped away and then returned. It was a pandemic break, I guess I'll call it, where you came back as free range Kara. So
boys, I'm doing an interview.
I know they're trying to take it over. We've had several animals try to take over the show. We've had children try to take over this show. It's just not happening. Although they probably would do a better job. I mean, if they want their own spot,
Mhm.
we will schedule it.
Yes.
October's booked, but November is looking good for them.
Sounds good. I'll put Ritz and Bud up there for November.
Ritz and butt. I totally would do an interview with cats. If you could get them to sit there for like 15 minutes and just like look around, I could do it.
Yeah.
I totally could do it. I'd be like, what are their names again?
Ritz and Butter.
Ritz and Butter. I'd be like, so Butter, when your adult leader, free range Kara, leaves the house, do you like it when if she puts on like the radio or the TV to keep you company? And you'd go, he'd look around. It could be fun in a alternate. So after the pandemic, you come back as free range Kara. Is that how it worked?
Yeah, basically, I was thinking about changing it right before the pandemic,
Okay.
but then, getting kind of a year to sit on it, it was like, yeah, it's definitely time for a change. Um, I didn't really have much further to go with Paranoia. I didn't really know who she was, so it was hard to like try to advance my career.
Right.
And then I watched people like Warhouse,
Warhorse.
Warhorse and Danhausen. Sometimes I call him Warehouse just to bug him. Uh, Seeing these big over the top characters coming back into wrestling, and it's like, oh, I've got a good little spin on that because I haven't seen anyone do a farmer gimmick, since like Hillbilly Jim.
Oh, old school, right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. And it's more like you said, you didn't know who Paranoia was,
Mm-hmm.
so it probably makes it challenging. Um, to fulfill that, to get people invested in advance the character. But if you lean more towards who you are, which I think is what you're doing now, not only will you be more comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
but I think you'll be more invested in making that character.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had plenty of my mentors tell me that I move more comfortably in the ring. I talk more confidently. Like I'm turning into a whole other person in the ring, and that's exactly what I wanted.
Um, you trained with Mr. I want to say Mr. Kennedy, Ken Anderson, Impact, WWE. But who are some of these mentors that you speak of?
Well, it wasn't just Ken who trained me. There
Okay.
was a team of five when I first started
Oh,
there.
where?
So it was this was the academy up in
Okay.
Minneapolis. So it was Ken and Sean Davari owned the school.
Okay.
So I had Ken and Sean, and then they had like assistant trainers. So I had Eric Cannon, Aria Davari, and then Molly wasn't there very often, but when she was there, she's literally my favorite person in the whole world.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard
Mm-hmm.
great things about her. Eric Cannon, I think I saw when I was prepping today, I think I saw like a poster for an event
Mm-hmm.
uh, with you in the ring with him. So I think you probably have wrestled him a few times, but
I've actually only gotten to wrestle him once.
so
This was the first time, and it was like the moment I've been waiting for the last 5 years of my life.
so what's that like? So okay, so he helps train you, quote unquote mentor. Is that an easy match to put on?
It was really easy,
Yeah.
like because I've watched all of his stuff, and he knows, he's trained me, so he knows all of my stuff. So it's easy to just be like, you feel really comfortable because it's not like you're meeting them for the first time ever. It's like, oh, we finally get to do this. It's fun.
Um, were you a fan of wrestling growing up?
I actually wasn't up until about 17 or 18. My parents always like, oh, that's fake. Why would you watch it? So I just didn't watch it.
Right.
And until my sister and I in 2011 was our when I started watching wrestling. We were watching, I think, Law and Order SVU on the USA channel,
Right. Yep.
as you do.
Everybody does.
And
Yeah.
and then it was like, oh, coming up next, Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
And we just kind of like looked at each other and we were like, oh, we've heard how fake this is. Let's watch it. Let's see how fake it is. And when I tell you I was hooked immediately.
What was the moment that hooked
like,
you? Do you know?
um,
Do you have one?
I
Or
couldn't
did
say
it...
the thing that I remember most from that first show that I watched. It was R-Truth versus John Morrison.
Okay.
R-Truth had a title shot against John Cena coming up, and John Morrison was like, "Oh, we're friends. Let's wrestle, and put your championship opportunity on the line."
Okay.
And then Morrison won, and that was the moment R-Truth lost his shit.
Oh, yeah.
And there's this memory of him just slamming John Morrison with this water bottle, water going everywhere, and then like he smoked a cigarette right after. And I was like, what the hell am I watching?
Underrated.
This is like one of the first Raws after WrestleMania 27. So I like went back and watched WrestleMania 27. Like went to Walmart, bought the DVD, took it home, and watched it.
That's interesting. That like just to first of all to comment on Law and Order SVU. I think that is why the WWE gets a bad rap as having an older demographic, because I think old people sit down on or lay down on their couch to watch SVU, fall asleep, and Raw is still on. But it's interesting because not a wrestling fan, told it was fake, decided to tune in, and then you're like, wow, boom, I gotta go buy the DVD. Like it was like that. There must have been something inside you that was like, well, that's what I want to do. Were you into sports? Were you into theater, acting?
I didn't have a lot of opportunities for like theater in my little tiny small town, and I really wasn't that athletic. Like, I mean, I played like elementary basketball and I ran track and field in high school, but like I was not athletic at all. I was very clumsy and uncoordinated.
How small was your town growing up?
Well, the town that I am from, the current population is 27.
Oh my lord, that's small.
And the town I went to high school was about 500.
What was your graduating class size?
We were 20. We were the biggest class.
Okay, all right. That is a small town. I thought I was small. I had like 80. Wow.
Literally, I always win smallest town. People are like, I grew up in a small town of 1,000 people. I'm like, just hold my beer. Like,
holy,
I got you.
Right?
I thought I grew up on an island. I thought that was small.
Right? I know. 27 people. Holy cow. It's like you could have everybody over for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you see everybody in church on Christmas, and there you are.
There you are.
Oh, here's everybody.
Can't get away with a lot of stuff in a small town because everyone knows you.
Definitely couldn't. And like I grew up on a farm, so I didn't even count in the populace.
Oh my god, you're right. Yeah. Oh man. Well, I mean, I went back. I watched a bunch of your matches, and I would have to agree. Actually, I enjoyed Karanoia. I think it might have been the ring gear that made me enjoy that character more. But then when I watched you as Free Range, I was like, oh, this is who this person is. And I think it had a lot to do because I knew, small town, I knew that was what you wanted to do. But I definitely can see the more comfortableness in the ring. So that I think that works. I think we've talked to a lot of wrestlers from all ranges of on the
range. That's me.
On the range. That's you. That's right. From everywhere in the journey. And I think one of the things I would take away from talking to all of them is that if you don't know who your character is and don't have a way to connect with that character, it's not going to do well for you. So I think the fact that you're behind it 100% helps you a ton.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you have any interactions with Mr. Anderson?
Like before I started training with him?
Did you know of him like in WWE and then Impact? Did you go back and watch his stuff?
I did watch some of his stuff. Like I was watching when he was in Impact, so I watched some of his stuff there. I didn't really go back and watch his WWE stuff. Yeah. I found that I'm like one of the because I didn't grow up watching wrestling. Like these, I'm not like starstruck
Right.
by a lot of the big names. Like the peers that I'm with get starstruck, which I feel helps me a lot because I get very very nervous when I think I'm meeting somebody very important.
Okay.
The fact that I can kind of just look at them as like, oh, these are all just wrestlers. Like we're all just a bunch of idiots in our underwear wrestling in front of people. Like I think it's helped me out to like not necessarily go back until I've met them.
Right. Do you go back and watch not just his stuff, any stuff? Do you go back and watch older wrestling at all to take stuff away to help advance your character? Maybe Molly Holly stuff or anything?
It's been a little while. I just switched jobs, so I've kind of been trying to conserve my energy for all of that. But yeah, I'm always looking for recommendations. I ask my friends who they are watching right now, and they're into a lot of Japanese wrestling, and it's not necessarily my cup of tea, but
Right.
I'm trying to get into some more old school Japanese wrestling right now.
We mentioned you're newly married, 4 months.
Yes.
What does Mr. Free Range Kara think of your wrestling?
Well, actually, so I met him at a wrestling show, so that helps a lot.
That does help.
And he does graphic design work mostly for wrestling.
Okay.
Like any of the posters you've seen for GCW in the last couple of years, that's him.
Nice.
Anything for First Wrestling, that's him.
Okay.
There was Garden State Wrestling for a couple shows. That was him.
Nice.
So like he's made quite a name for himself, and that was like he's done all of this before he ever met me. So like I'm riding his coattails,
Right.
which is great for me.
Garden State Pro, I think, right? Garden State Pro Wrestling, or is there also Garden State Wrestling? Is there a difference?
I think Garden State Pro, but I could definitely be wrong.
I am probably wrong. I know there's Garden State Pro Wrestling. I just didn't know if there was also Garden State Wrestling.
Yeah.
No, so that's awesome. So that helps out probably.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. So I also found out you had a match on AEW Dark.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, when they come to, like a city, they sometimes contact the local wrestlers to see if there's anyone who wants to do some extra work. So the last time they came to town, like last year, I was backstage. They just didn't have anything for me, so they paid me to eat catering, which is always my favorite. Yeah, I'll eat your food and hang out.
Is the catering good at AEW?
Ooh, it's so good. It may not be WWE good, but it's like a close second.
Have you had WWE catering? I
have a couple times.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So AEW wins the catering wars, is what you're saying.
I don't know. WWE's was really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll always go backstage, get paid a little bit of cash money, and eat people's food.
Yeah, hey, if people want to pay me to eat too, I'll do an episode of Dark, sit in the back and
eat.
Yeah.
Or like you'll sit there in WWE catering and just be like eating. You're like, oh, Randy Orton just walked by. Okay, cool. Back to my cupcake.
Oh, you need a fork, Mr. Orton? I got you.
No, I wouldn't dare.
You need a napkin? Here. So you have your Dark match. It's interesting too because WWE does the same thing. They go into a town, they bring in local talent. They're on. They may be in a squash match. They may be on Saturday Night Main Event or whatever the case may be. But for some reason, AEW promotes it. Like you got that image that goes out. It gets promoted on their social media. It makes it's a bigger event in my mind. Like I'm pumped. I'm like, oh my God, that's who we're having on tonight. Free Range Kara. She was on Dark. Oh, look, we just had this person on our show and now they're on Dark. I think they do a better job at promoting who they're bringing in. And no offense, like who they're bringing in for enhancement talent. I mean, that's what you're doing. You want to get your name out. I think AEW does a good job with that.
Yeah, I do think the way they do it, it's obviously different than the way WWE does it. It helps if you're not watching AEW, but you're watching local wrestling, you say, oh, so and so is going to be on AEW Dark. You watch that video, then you watch another video, and you watch another video because it's the internet and they autoplay.
And it's on YouTube. You get on YouTube and the algorithm.
And that's probably their way of bringing like newer voices or newer viewers to their show. Whereas like the WWE's, it's a huge monster.
Right.
Like it's the biggest company in the US. And they don't need to necessarily focus on who they're bringing in to lose versus building up the talent they already have. So they don't really necessarily need to announce, who it's going to be. Because like you love watching Braun Strowman just destroy 3 nobodies. Like that's the joy of Braun Strowman. I don't need to know their names beforehand.
Good point. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I also think there is a better chance or opportunity to showcase yourself on an AEW Dark or Elevation to maybe get another shot on a Dark or Elevation, maybe get a shot on Rampage. I think the opportunity is higher on AEW, but it makes sense. They're a newer company. I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. So. You have your AEW Dark match. You go backstage. You go through the curtains. It's late. Does anyone come up to you? Do you get any advice? Do you get any comments? Go to anybody?
Yeah. As I was walking back, the first person to check on me was the referee from our match. Just made sure I was okay.
Okay.
For my particular matches, it was Julia Hart. Yeah. The other members of the House of Black were right there, and they were, offering us both advice. And then our agent was actually Dustin Rhodes, so that was like the coolest part for me was Dustin Rhodes is telling me what I can do to be better, and I was like, oh yeah, that all makes sense.
And somebody like yourself with such a great character, the whole farmer character, free range, all that type of stuff. Nobody better to get advice from than Dustin, who is one of the the greatest. Goldust is one of the greatest characters up there. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So that was awesome. I think that's great. I hope more opportunities like that come. If people are just tuning in or they're listening on YouTube, we're talking to Free Range Kara. Phenomenal new name. I love it. Before I get to our non-wrestling questions, I got some non-wrestling stuff that I learned about you.
Yeah.
Do you have anything coming up that I need to make sure I watch?
Nothing. I don't think that's being streamed right away.
Okay.
At the end of the month, I have a show in the Halloween capital of the world, Anoka, Minnesota, for First Wrestling. So that'll be both a hoot and a holler. I'm very excited for it. We've got like a kids matinee show with costumes and stuff, so we're all going to be wearing costumes. And then that night we're having like, a 21 plus or 18 plus more conventional wrestling show.
Are you into Halloween?
As any white girl should be, I'm very into Halloween.
What will you be dressing as for Halloween this year?
Well, Chris and I thought that maybe since this is our first Halloween as a married couple, we should maybe do a couple's costume. We just haven't decided what one yet.
Okay.
Otherwise, I was going to recycle my Halloween costume from the last year.
Which was what?
Which is a turkey jumpsuit with a lightsaber. I call myself Darth Meat.
Oh, man. Oh, phenomenal. All right, I'm going to get to my non-wrestling question. I got one really good one that I'm really interested about. But I'm going to start with the movie Twister. You love the movie Twister.
Yes, I love it so much.
What specifically about that movie do you love? And have you ever been in a tornado?
I have never been in a tornado, thankfully, because believe it or not, they terrify me.
That is true. They're dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Can you cats be chill? Okay?
I did see one try to get on screen. I did see that.
Yes, they're just off to my left. I don't know what it is about the movie that I love so much. Just now that I've watched it 1,500 times, like
Right.
it's just. I think it's probably the fact that like my family loves watching it.
Yeah.
Like when we get together, we all watch Twister, no matter what season or year or time it is. Sometimes we'll just watch it twice in a row, just because.
Growing up in North, to me, I know you're a fan of Twister. I know you grew up in North Dakota. Are there a lot of tornadoes there? Is that
Um, where I grew up, there really wasn't. I
okay?
remember one time seeing I caught a Twister on my own camera, just a picture of it when I was like in middle school. But we're kind of out of Tornado Alley, which is more on the eastern side of the state.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I found that really interesting because I thought like, oh, she's in North Dakota-ish area, so maybe like there's a lot of them there. Maybe she got a good story. I actually there was a tornado that touched down here, uh, and I'm in upstate New York,
Mm-hmm.
and I literally remember driving over an overpass, and I looked out. We went out that night to buy an umbrella for like a patio umbrella, and
Yeah.
I looked over the overpass, and I fucking see a tornado, which I've never seen,
Mm-hmm.
never. And I was like, shit, we got to get home. And I had two kids at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I forget their ages, but the she's the middle kid now. She was like a baby. Like we got there, and
Mm-hmm.
like trees were bent over in our street, and a basketball hoop went by in front of me, and it always reminded me of the movie Twister.
Oh,
And
that's so scary. I'm
oh my
I'm
god,
glad
it
that
was
you guys are okay.
oh my god, I was scared. I wish my wife was down here. We were scared shitless. So I hugged my youngest at the time to my chest as I ran in the house. We brought the other kid in. We
Mm-hmm.
went. We lived in a split ranch house. So we didn't have like any. We literally went in this closet. Like I went in a closet
Mm-hmm.
under these stairs and closed the door and waited. I was scared, but we were good.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but not very common here. So like I could say, hey, remember the time the tornado was here? Uh, and people know what we're talking about. So when I heard you were a big fan of Twister, I was just interested. I guess I don't know, whatever, but not as interested as the fact that you were a big fan of the shows Cheers.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of my really favorite shows because it's a bar and it's in Boston and the Golden Girls. Now my question for you is this: I don't ever like to judge people. I don't ever like to think of what people's ages are. I don't know what your age is, nor do I care. But I have to think you watch these shows on Nick at Night. Where did you see Cheers and the Golden Girls?
Yeah, it was probably Nick at Night,
Nick
but
at Night.
also like I grew up watching a lot of the shows my parents liked.
Okay.
So like
Okay.
I also watched a lot of like Gilligan's Island
Okay.
and
So we're
Stan and like all the things that are not supposed to be in my age group. Like I have vivid memories of Three's Company and
oh, coming. Yeah. What about Cheers did you like the most?
um good question.
That is a good question.
It's,
It's hard to explain, right? It's just good.
yeah, a lot of the when people really fit their characters.
Yeah.
You're like, of course this guy owns the bar. Of course this guy is always getting kicked out. Like,
Yep. Yeah.
and they really like they created a very like a home away from home atmosphere there. Like you're like, not they're not just going to the bar. I'm going to the bar. Like we're all hanging out.
Yeah. We're all going there and talking about our problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Those are Golden Girls I sort of enjoyed. Cheers, I was a huge fan. Like I
Mm-hmm.
could still binge watch that. I'll bet. Um, let me see. Let me see if I missed anything on my notes. I write all these notes down.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried. Oh, look at that! A cat wants to talk.
What are you saying, Butter?
Is
Where you at?
that a guitar back there?
Yeah, that is my husband's guitar.
Nice. Is that that's an electric? Is that an electric?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a terrible person to ask. I played drums in high school and college, so I don't know anything about the strings.
Well, we're a musical family, so we have I can play. I have this weird. I'm flexing. That's the kids say. I'm flexing. I have this weird ability to just hear something and play it. So I can.
You're a sight reader.
Yeah, I'm one of those people. So I can do like guitar, drums, piano. My middle daughter plays a stand-up bass, which is funny because she's not that tall. So
It's always those ones too.
the bass is way much taller than her.
Yeah, my grandpa could play anything he heard on a piano too, so that's really cool.
It drives my wife insane because my wife took all these lessons, and so she's got to get out the sheet music and put it, and all I got to do is hear it.
Yeah,
and she just gets really mad at me. I was like, she goes, "How'd you do that?" Or I'll even go make something up, and she'll go, "How'd you do that?" Like I go, "I don't know. I just did it." And it's I didn't capitalize on that. I think I could have done better. But I was never, I guess, invested. I don't know. Let me see. All right, so my notes. That's what I was saying. I think I hit all our notes. I asked about Cheers. I asked about the movie Twister. We talked about cattle and castrating animals. That was fun. I talked about paranoia.
Yeah. You got it.
Paranoia. I talked about that and the gear. Oh, the gear. Very Blink 182-ish. Are you a Blink 182 fan?
Are you talking about the first set of gear, the white and the black?
Yes.
Yeah, that one's actually based off of Paramore's Riot album.
Oh, okay. So that makes sense. Paranormal, Paranor. That works.
Yeah. That being said, Chris's favorite band is Blink 182, so I've been to a Blink concert.
Okay.
It was Blink and not Weezer, Lil Wayne.
Oh, there you go.
And let me tell you, I'm still not a Lil Wayne fan. It's not in my bones.
No.
Nah.
So I guess I got a question for Chris. So Blink 182 announced they're getting back together, a reunion show.
Yes.
They're all back together. How does he feel about it?
He's excited. He's excited for the new music. St. Paul is the first stop on their once they return to America. But tickets start at $112 before taxes. So we will not be in attendance.
Damn.
But it's like I get it, capitalize on this, but like sorry, we can't.
We'll just listen to the music. Grab that on Spotify. I think their new song, I want to say it comes out Friday. That's tomorrow. It comes out soon. It's called Edging.
It's called Edging, yeah.
Edging, yeah. So take that for what it's worth. I also, and we've been posting your links all night, your Twitter, your Instagram, your link tree as well. I think it's freerangekara.com. I think. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got that
shirt. My Big Cartel where I've got my new shirt up there.
Correct. Big Cartel with the new shirt. You're also on Twitch. And
yes.
You are. Do you enjoy streaming on Twitch?
I do. I wish I could do it more frequently.
Yeah,
like
too.
I've really been slacking.
Yeah.
But it's so fun to just like I've played video games as long as I can remember. Like my dad had the original NES and me and my siblings would spend hours just playing Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt.
Yeah.
Which, looking back, he had so many games that we didn't play, like the original Zelda that I had never played.
Right.
We played that NES until it broke.
And I'm like in the same boat too. I do remember playing Zelda though, but I remember like for the longest time, the only game you played was Mario Brothers, and it took me for like ever to beat. At that time, I remember I got it. My dad got it for me. I want to say, well, I mean, we can do this on another show, but I don't feel like I got it when it first came out because we weren't that type of family.
Yeah.
It seems like it was, but God, I played those games forever. And I do remember getting Zelda. I do remember playing that. I remember Mario 3 like it was like it's the back of my hand. The movie The Wizard is one of my favorite movies of all time. So if you haven't seen that, go watch it because that's some great marketing ever. It's called The Wizard. Have you ever seen it?
I haven't. No, I'll put it on my watch list.
Okay, it's called The Wizard, and it stars Fred Savage from The Wonder Years and some other people. Christian Slater's in it, and basically it was it was about this family and Fred Savage and his younger brother. His younger brother had autism. One of the reasons I like it now, I work in the field. I work with children with autism, so that's why I like it even more. Kid runs away. The whole movie, they're searching for him. But it's interesting because that's how they released Mario Brothers 3. They released it in that movie. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but if you watch all the way through, that's the first time you ever see Mario 3. And I think it might be the first time you see the Power Glove, which was a shitty accessory for Nintendo. But so yeah, The Wizard. It's hard to find streaming. I can't ever find it streaming anywhere without having to pay for it.
Yeah.
But The Wizard, it's good. And if you hate it, I'll blame it on the fact that I enjoyed it when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, free range. I've ripped through all my notes. Oh no, I did. I got one more question to ask you.
Okay.
Oh my God, you're ready to go. You're ready to go. What goes into USDA certification?
Oh my God. I couldn't even tell you. There's so many steps.
It's a loaded question.
Yes.
Well, hey, we'll keep that on the table. We can bring you back for that, or the USDA certification show.
Yeah, there's some secrets the government doesn't want you to know.
My daughter, my middle daughter, who I've been mentioned a couple times tonight, asked, "Dad, who's your guest tonight?" And I told her, I said Free Range Kara, and I was like, she's an independent wrestler, and she's like, "Oh, cool." And she said, "Well, tell me about her character." And I had to tell her, but when I got to the point of like, you do a farm, and she's a vegetarian, so it was interesting.
Well, I'm not a vegetarian by any stretch of the imagination.
No, you're not. So as soon as
she is. Okay.
She is. So as soon as I was like, the whole like we talked about, get the cattle, the beef, this and that, and she's just like, okay, and left. And that's this is a new thing for her. She all out of the blue decided to be a vegetarian, and we kind of went with it because it's your daughter, and just go with it. And so it was interesting. Like, I don't know, it's just interesting. I'm not a vegetarian. I enjoy my USDA certified Angus beef. Are there different cows for beef? Like you said, Angus cows earlier, right?
Yeah. Sorry, my cats are making a noise. Oh, okay. It's a toy. Okay. I thought I heard some food falling from somewhere, and I was like, oh no. But we're good.
You're good.
Yeah, there's a lot of different breeds of cattle. I couldn't list them all in one video because I don't know them all. But the two most common types that I've worked with are Angus, where there's two varieties of Angus. There's red Angus and black Angus.
Okay.
Basically the same cow, different color. And then Herefords, which are brown and white.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
So
and then don't even ask me about dairy cattle. They're their own thing.
So when I go to the store and I see like a bunch of different, I see milk, I see a bunch of different beef. To me, it's just like, oh, this is beef. It all comes from the same cow. It's just different parts of the cow that gives me this type of meat. But that's not the case, right?
It definitely can be, depending on what store you're at. Like,
Okay.
If you're looking at a piece of chuck versus ribs, I'm gonna look like a total idiot right now, not knowing all my cow parts.
I will
But
never know. I'll never know. So you'll sound like a genius. Just say it, and I'll be like, oh, okay.
I would say that Angus is probably the most popular one because it's a really hardy breed. Like you can raise it really anywhere as long as it's not too hot.
Okay.
But then, like, if you were to go to like somewhere along the equator, they'd raise a different type of cattle that's more heat tolerant. But I mean, cow parts are cow parts. So like, it's not going to be much of a difference.
Right.
It may taste a little different depending on what they eat. Like grass fed tastes different than grain fed cattle and all those fun things.
I always wanted to be a farm. I always wanted to work on a farm.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I grew up in a small town, not as small as yours, but
Mm-hmm.
we had friends that had farms where we were, and I always wanted to do it because I
Mm-hmm.
think it was because there was always stuff to do.
Yeah, you will never be bored working on
You'll
a farm.
never be bored. You'll never check off all those boxes. You'll never
Mm-hmm.
be bored, and it'll never be done ever.
Yep. And if you do something like cattle or livestock, you'll never have a day off either. Like
Oh, that's
those
crazy.
cows need you 24/7.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm telling you, watch the ranch on Netflix. I love it. It's one of my favorite shows. And they own a ranch, obviously. Anyways, I feel like I have a bunch of questions that we could do all night. I won't keep you anymore. Your cats obviously need you.
I guess so. Don't you butter.
It's okay. I understand. But what we do at the end of every show is I'm going to give you the mic now. We've been posting your links and whatnot, and you talked about the stuff you got coming up. But this is your time to shine. You can say anything you want. You can put over anybody. You can bury anybody. You can reiterate your links. I won't interrupt. The floor is yours.
Alrighty. Well, for those who are listening, my name is Free Range Kara. I've been a professional wrestler for the last 5 years. I'm currently based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. If you're a promoter listening, I have open dates. I've got my Facebook and YouTube are Free Range Kara. My Twitter and Instagram are at Free Range Kara. I've got the Twitch at Free Range Kara. I'm forgetting something. I've got my big cartel with my new shirt being made right now, so I'm going to be shipping those out at the end of the month. And I've got a Patreon. So if you're looking to give me monthly money and want something in return, subscribe to my Patreon. I've got tiers ranging from $1 a month to $30 a month. The top tier, I make a mystery box that I ship out every single month with a recipe from my hometown's cookbook. I have a baked good in there most of the time. I have a different rubber duck every month, and a couple other fun things.
Ducks are your favorite animals.
They are my absolute favorite.
You should call them Kara crates.
See, you got to be careful when you're adding too many K's nowadays.
That is a good point. Well done.
I call them my harvest boxes.
Oh, that's good. That's probably way safer
than
the Kara crate. You've been a pleasure to have on. You've been easy to talk to. I've enjoyed myself. I've enjoyed this conversation. You're welcome back anytime. The animals are welcome back anytime. Your husband is welcome back anytime. And thank him for giving us your time tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. He's actually in Fargo tonight watching some deathmatch wrestling in Fargo.
Good grief.
I know, we're a wild bunch over here. That's Time Bomb Pro. If you want to check them out, they're good company, good dude.
Yeah, that name definitely sounds familiar. Time Bomb for sure. All right, Kara, I'm gonna let you go. Have yourself a glorious night, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, anytime. Peace.
Peace.